Are you the quantum mechanics?
Yes, we're the Quantum Mechanics. We're the paranormal podcast for the believers, the doubters, and everyone in between. I'm just back from my holidays, Ben. I only went for a few days to the... Weirdly, I was near Cirencester. Didn't go clubbing, though.
Okay, fair enough.
But I did have this really surreal moment. So there was a spa place, and you had to book your time in the swimming pool. So you booked a slot. Mm-hmm. So I booked my slot, and I was swimming for a bit, and then I thought, it was packed, absolutely packed. Families, you can imagine what it was like. They had a little indoor and a little outdoor. And after about 3/4 of an hour, I thought, I've had enough now. I'll go in the changing rooms and get changed. I thought, I'll have a little shower before I kind of get back. So I left the pool, absolutely rammed. I walk out of the changing rooms because you have to walk back through the pool. It was completely empty. It was like I'd gone into a parallel universe. There was no one, absolutely no one in it. And I was like,
that's weird.
That is so strange what has happened. What I didn't realise was each of the swimming slots are an hour and a half.
Oh, so they just got
so
to the
they
end of
kick
the slot.
everyone out, and I'd happened to be in the shower when everybody was kicked out. But it was the most surreal thing. If you can imagine, it was absolutely rammed with screaming kids. I walk out after my shower and completely empty. No one in the pool at all. Smooth water, no one sitting around. It was so weird. And yeah, luckily I worked out what was going on. Otherwise I thought I'd slipped into a parallel universe where the Beatles didn't split up.
It would have made a good story for the show.
Would have done, but yeah, it's not quite on the paranormal tip.
It reminds me of that story I told you of my friends who live in Germany invited their other friends over, and they went to their spa, and as a sneaky little joke, because their friends visiting were worried that you wouldn't be able to wear swimming costumes in German swimming pools.
Right.
They told them that the bell, which was actually for the end of the session, was the bell for when everybody had to remove their swimming costumes. So when the bell went off, people started moving away from the pool, and they thought that's when they had to take their costumes off, so they just took their costumes off in the pool. Everybody was like, what are you doing? That was genuinely very funny.
But they got bailed out in the end.
No harm came of it. Germans are very famous for their sense of humour.
Yeah,
they
definitely.
thought that was funny.
Definitely.
When you were there, I imagine you didn't have to decipher any alien or peculiar languages because it was just down the road in the UK.
Yeah, no, there was no alien encounters. There was lots of wildlife around. Nearly got attacked by a swan, but that's the closest I've got to a paranormal encounter.
That's so Alan Partridge.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah. No.
Okay, so when I was thinking this week about what to look into, I had just come back from speaking to some friends who were talking about going to Japan. And I know you've been to Japan, and they were saying they're a bit worried about the language. And that opened up for me a whole slew of alien language encounters. And that's what we're going into this week. People who claim to have seen or experienced alien languages. And we're going into the work of Linda Moulton Howe. But before we get there, I always like to start with a science piece. And I discovered that there was an article 2 weeks ago. Someone has solved what they call the alien language problem. It has actually nothing to do with aliens themselves, but the reason it's called this is because it's such a problem in mathematics, or it has been, that people assume that this is how we would have to approach deciphering an alien language. It's basically, it involves something very complicated called Lie algebras, and what it means is, can you come up with a way of mathematically representing a message that makes sense in our own mathematical terms when you've got no reference points for it? That's basically what it is. And two mathematicians, Alexandre Borovic and Alexei Mezikov, have come up with a solution to this problem. And it does mean that we're a little bit closer to, if we do genuinely come across an alien language, we've got somewhere to start. Although, of course, with AI and everything, I imagine it's going to be a bit of an easier job than we originally thought it was going to be. So we're going to go into some historical encounters with alien languages, and this work of Linda's is quite staggering. But on the way, I wanted to take you past the Boogosphere. So you remember we spoke about that. This is the supposed alien origin ball that was discovered in Colombia It's the size of, I guess it's like a football, and it has some engravings on the outside of it, and it's been X-rayed, and inside, when you peer through the X-ray materials, it looks like it's almost like pips within a fruit, is what it looks like.
Right.
So it's clearly been produced. It's not a natural object. I mean, the thing was flying. It couldn't be a natural object. And there has been some engravings, I would say, that captured on the side. Now, I've spoken about this before because other people said, oh, look, that is just copying one post I saw on Reddit.
Isn't it Klingon or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, when I mentioned AI there, somebody within the research team, they say they've deciphered it to say, and I quote, "The origin of birth through union and energy is the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expression and consciousness, individual consciousness." That's what it says.
They'd have been really disappointed if it said made in China.
Well, do you know what? I don't really believe a word of it. That was back in March.
Right.
We haven't heard any more.
How could you come to that conclusion from that?
Well,
it's quite difficult, isn't it?
Well, I think
you've got no reference point to know what is what, have you? But wasn't there, I was thinking while you were talking about this, the other ones that had symbols on that I'm thinking of, Rendlesham Forest, the craft that they touched, supposed to have strange symbols on, wasn't it? And wasn't there some of that in Roswell on the metallic thing that was soft?
You've been reading my notes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's jump into that.
ahead.
So this is from a presentation that Linda Moulton Howe gave about 7 years ago. And it's her work. So she's probably most famous for her work on cattle mutilations, and we've covered that in the past. And in more recent times, she has begun investigating all kinds of things. Some of it, I must say, I find challenging. Some of it less so. But this work was remarkable. And I'll take you through some of the key points, because when you mention Roswell, you kind of think you know Roswell. I think I know Roswell and what happened there. But what she has uncovered about alien language is, well, I hadn't expected it. So just to remind everybody, it's 1941, and it's a quiet night in April near a place called Cape Girardeau in Missouri. And there's a local reverend called to the scene of a crash. But as we can imagine, it's no ordinary accident. The wreckage is otherworldly. There's this crescent-shaped craft, and according to her account, in sight is 3 small lifeless bodies. So the Reverend and some other witnesses were struck by how identical they were. He described them as being cookie cutter. We would call them clones. And this event, so she is citing her source here, is said to have been handled by an army unit, and the knowledge of it sent to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And it was here that the policy of absolute denial was born. That's what she is saying. It was him.
Saying that's the birth.
That's the birth of denial. Yeah. And so the secret context of those events make July 1947 in New Mexico more profound. So this is the Roswell crash we're having here. When the radio operators there tracked 3 aerial objects merging and then disappearing, it led to not 1 but 3 distinct crash sites in the Roswell region. The first site was discovered by Ron Shamak Brazel, and there was a debris field that was absolutely huge. You've probably seen on television programs, it covers many, many acres. And it was on this crash site where apparently we get a glimpse of this alien language. So the head of intelligence for the 509th Bomber Group, Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Marshall Sr., he was sent to investigate, and he gathered pieces of strange wreckage, silvery foil that folded like cloth but wouldn't crease, and these long, thin, well, she describes them as I-beams. These appear to be part of the structure of the craft, basically.
So they'd been kind of
snapped off
in the wreckage.
Yeah. And inscribed and etched along these was a language. His son, we know this part of the story well, Dr. Jesse Marceau Jr. was just a boy when his father woke him up, and his mother also in the middle of the night. And he put the debris on the kitchen floor. And decades later, this child, now a man clearly, He recalled holding one of these I-beams, which was so light he could barely feel it in the weight of it. But what transfixed him was the fact it had these metallic pinkish purple hieroglyphs written down the side. And his father said that he compared them to basically Chinese writing. He didn't know what they were. He just said they were completely indecipherable. I assume it's Chinese. Later in 1959, Brigadier General Stephen Lovekin, that's a good name, isn't it? Lovekin,
That's a great name.
who was briefed on the Roswell incident at the Pentagon, was shown these same I-beams, and he referred to them as purplish encryptions. So this purpleness is inherent in whatever has been used to inscribe them on there.
On metal or
On what we assume is a metallic
Right.
object, yeah.
It's weird. I was thinking, I was in jest saying it probably translates to made in China. But actually,
Yeah.
if you flip it the other way round, I would imagine, I've got no idea to back up this, what I'm going to say is a fact, probably the majority of objects, man-made objects on Earth, the most prominent thing written on them is probably made in China. They're probably more, you know what I mean? If you found an ancient object, if you were an alien and you picked up a load of objects, you'd wonder what that made in China was about. 'Cause it must be the most written thing on human products, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because it's probably the centre
May
of...
contain nuts is another.
Yeah. That'd be brilliant. They work... Yeah. These little tubes just said, may contain nuts.
Do not eat. Yes.
Can I just ask a question? I'm maybe really jumping ahead, so you can slap me down. The earlier case that you mentioned that kicked this off,
Yeah.
and Roswell, is there any similarity between the hieroglyphics, or are they in a similar style, similar shapes?
That didn't come out in her
Right.
work.
That'd be really
No.
interesting, wouldn't it? And the Rendlesham one as well, if there's any correlation.
Well, I'm going to come on to correlations
Okay.
in a minute and what it all might mean.
Cool.
As usual with her work, she sort of builds up a picture and then takes us somewhere. So this next one, you will have probably heard of Colonel Philip J. Corso, who in the late 50s and 60s worked as the chief of foreign technology desk under Arthur Trudeau, the Army's head of research and development. These are probably very familiar names. And he was handpicked by President Eisenhower. And as Corso later recounted, General Trudeau took him to a set of filing cabinets and handed him literal alien artifacts that were recovered at Roswell. Corso's mission, given to him by Trudeau, was top secret. He was to act as a clandestine delivery man, secretly giving these alien materials to major American corporations to be analysed and patented as their own inventions. This is something that I think has long fascinated us. So we think of Bell Labs being given fibre optics, night vision technology, integrated circuits, Kevlar-like material.
Microchips, even Velcro, wasn't that being talked about? As an
Yes,
alien
yeah.
technology?
Although, come on, surely we could have thought
could
of
invent Velcro.
We don't need alien help for Velcro.
Surely not.
But also that strange memory metal was all given to American industry, apparently.
The zip.
The-
Alien technology, I'm telling you.
those slip-on Skechers shoes like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wearing,
yeah.
that's alien as well.
Yeah. Onesies.
So there's this idea... Onesies. Moist toilet paper.
Yeah. All alien. Sorry, I'm knocking you off track, aren't I?
Jaffa Cake McFlurries. Yeah. No. So there's this secret underground technology revolution that's all being developed from these recovered craft. But there's an even darker secret. There's these animal mutilations are going on, which are becoming more and more prevalent. And the number of alien craft sightings, recoveries, just general sightings correlates with the number of these animal mutilations going up. This is obviously what brought Moulton Howe into this world, because that's what she was completely fascinated with.
Because I know that's what she's most famous for, right? The alien, the cattle mutilation.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did we ever are there theories of why? I know we've joked about it before. Do they just like milk or beef? But We've never really, I get UFO sightings going up and cattle mutilations going up, but for why?
Well, the last time we interrogated this subject, it was because the aliens would like to eat us, but they think it's naughty to eat us. So the blood of the beasts themselves.
Right, like vampires avoiding humans and living off animals.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Although there isn't really any solid evidence of anything either way. Like,
it's a long way to come for a bit of food.
Well, I think they're here already, and they didn't bring a packed lunch. I think that's kind of the idea.
That'd be weird. All those UFOs are basically just Deliveroo.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the point Linda is trying to make, is that it's this association between these cattle mutilations and then the number of actual sightings of EBEs. So to give you just everybody a context of when we think about the Greys and we think about people encountering what we would call classical aliens, the things that you would see on the front cover of, for example, Communion, this is the peak time for those, and the term for them in the military is EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities.
Gotcha.
Then you mentioned Rendlesham Forest. So this is December 1980. Strange lights, we know the story, near RAF Bentwaters, which is a NATO air base. James Penniston is part of the security team. He goes to investigate. On the forest floor, he finds a small triangular craft made of smooth black glassy material. If you go to Rendlesham today, you'll find a life-size model of this in the middle of the forest. The difference with the symbols that he sees on this craft, though, is they're not etched, they're raised up from the surface. Again, it's reproduced on this model for you. Penniston said that he felt this inexplicable compulsion to touch these symbols. And as his fingers made contact with them, he said his mind was flooded with what he calls unstoppable cascading visions of zeros and ones in binary code that went into his consciousness, and he wrote it in a notebook to get it out of his head. Anyone who knows this story will know there's a problem with that. And the main problem with it is it's not initially reported by him. Right. It comes up years later. But anyway, the zeros and ones do appear to make sense when they're interrogated later. But basically, what is seen at the time is seen at the time with these symbols. And the central, most prominent symbol was a large triangle with a circle at its peak. Every time I see that, I'm thinking of like the Harry Potter symbol with the triangle and the circle inside it, but it's not that, it's the circle is at the top of it. And this geometric language, Howe says, is the key. So Howe is the researcher that's been delivering this evidence to Linda. And he cites another person with an identical symbol that was found in 1903 in Japan, where, and we've covered this a little bit, a mysterious woman emerged from a round hollow ship.
That's a great story.
Called the Itsuro Boon, which was covered in a strange script. And that script bears a striking resemblance to what was seen on the exterior of this craft in Rendlesham. Now, if you fast forward to 2015, there's a US Army sergeant who Linda calls CJ, and he's driving with his family through rural Georgia. And suddenly, an impossibly huge craft, nearly 3 football fields long, imagine that is absolutely enormous.
It's huge.
It descends silently from the sky and hovers above their truck. Now, he can see on its dark surface a sequence of 5 glowing symbols. After the craft had vanished, he recovered from a period of missing time. There's always missing time. CJ realised that the symbols that he saw were eerily similar to the ones that he recognised from the Rendlesham Forest case. And once again, the prominent design was this triangle and circle.
I mean, I'm with you on that, but in terms of shapes, it's not that complex, is it? So to go back and find different stories with that shape, a triangle and a circle, they're very prominent. You know what I mean? If it was, I don't know, a more complex 9-sided shape with circles and straight lines, more impressive. But yeah, do you know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's where they seem to be being viewed that's important.
Well, again, in this instance, though, when CJ a few days later had been sleeping in a hotel room, he suddenly found himself having sleepwalked into the bathroom with a pen in his hand and had written out another set of binary code.
Okay.
So there is a different sort of story going on here.
So would that suggest that that shape somehow communicates some code or something to you? That's kind of the Rendlesham vibe.
Do you know what this code said?
What?
So there was a translation done by Horace Drew, who was an army codebreaker. It gave the latitude and longitude point to Nuremberg in Germany, the site of the 1561 Celestial Battle.
Oh, wow.
And it spoke of the need for humanity's advancement for planetary survival. Remember that word?
Yeah.
Advancement for planetary survival. That was what was communicated at Rendlesham as well. It contained a specific alert. Beware of Orion. I don't think it means the booted version of the Ford Escort. I think,
although you need to be beware of that as well.
Yeah, very, very poor on rust.
Yeah.
But beware of Orion, that says to me, beware of extraterrestrial biological entities coming from the vicinity of Orion.
Yeah.
But why would it give Nuremberg in Germany as... It's obviously trying to make a point.
It's a hell of a way, though, to get a message across, isn't it? So if you think of that logically, Zorgon, the alien, they go, well, I know what we'll do. We'll go down to Earth in our ship. We'll put some symbols on it that we can then communicate to the humans, who then got to go and decode it and kind of work out what it's saying. I get the decoding bit, but why not just broadcast it? Do you know what I mean? Why stick it on your craft and show it to one or two people? It's an odd thing. I guess it's the equivalent of why not land on the White House lawn, isn't it?
Yeah, the other thing that I have seen it being compared to is when we want to know what a flock of geese are doing, we don't ring the entire flock. We ring one or two of them and follow them.
Yeah.
And this could be a test of you impart some knowledge and you see what that does within the population. It's an experiment, basically.
Right. Zorgon's going, no, it's beware of Ryan.
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah. It's all been a warning against Ryan Gosling.
A man who worked... So we're jumping a bit of time here. So I'll leave that one with you because we're going to come back to knowing what all
We're
this
going
means.
back to the Nuremberg thing at some
No.
point. That is fascinating. Again, why leave that? It's quite an obscure message, isn't it?
It's a very obscure
message.
message.
Beware of Orion, I get. But I know what we'll do is we'll put a message that refers back to some moment in history. I guess it makes the link, but wow.
Well, this time we're going to something called the Yellow Book. So there's this man who goes by the codename Sherman, who worked for the secret MJ12 group. MJ12, again, Majestic 12. There's various views on whether this is real or not. Linda believes it is real. Sherman confirmed the existence of MJ12, and it apparently has a mandate to study and hide the alien presence. But he also provided a look at the who's who of the cosmos. So he describes this piece of alien technology that contained their history. It's not a book or a piece of paper. It's a device called the Yellow Book. He said he's held it himself, and when it's opened, its symbols would glow a brilliant yellow, and three-dimensional holographic images would be emitted from it. He said it was a living history book that tells the story of all the people that were visiting, or all the beings that are visiting Earth, and it has the ability to capture time and play it back. So it's not like a video camera. It literally can look back into history and
a bit like that
replay
thing,
the
Vatican
event.
That was supposed to.
Yes, the visor.
Yes.
Yes, the chronovisor.
Coronavirus visor.
Not the coronavirus.
Not the coronavirus. I'd love to have a go at that book. Wouldn't you? Just 10 minutes in the room with that would be brilliant.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
How much fun.
Yeah. The places I would go. So first there are the Eberns. These are the beings with pear-shaped heads from the Zeta Reticuli star system.
Oh, yeah.
They are the creators of the Yellow Book. And according to them, they are the ones who manipulated primate DNA to create Homo sapiens, you and I.
Right.
They see themselves as our gardeners, our creators, and are deeply concerned with our planet's environment. That's the Ebens.
Okay.
Then there are the Greys. Sherman stressed that these are different, separate race. The Ebens have no control over them, and the Greys are not to be trusted. Third are the Blondes, a humanoid race that Sherman says fought a devastating war with Ebens thousands of years ago over a territorial rights issue in this region of space.
Okay.
And then there are the androids. Sherman describes many of these beings. They look like insects, reptilians, or even the Men in Black, but they're not biological at all. They're sophisticated, custom-built biological robots built by and designed by Ebens and Blondes to carry out specific missions.
So, but the Ebons seem to not be. I mean, everyone reports seeing grey. So the Ebons are a bit like David Attenborough doing a documentary. They keep their distance, try not to interfere. It's the Greys are the ones who are.
Oh no, they
interfere. Why we
interfered.
see, yeah, but subtly interfere. The Greys are very. Nobody describes an Ebon very often, do they? We always get the Greys, which, if you followed the logic, would go, that means there are more Greys visiting than anything else. But maybe we just don't see the others so much.
No, well, the Ebens created us, and the Greys are for some reason not to be trusted. Who knows what they're up to? But the Ebens communicate through the Yellow Book, and they claim that, and this is where it goes, this is where you have to get your tinfoil hat on. They claim there are a finite number of souls they claim are immortal and are endlessly recycled through different biological containers. Earth is not just a planet, it's a garden, and we're not just a species, we are containers, and our DNA, the blueprint for these containers, is one of the most valuable resources in the universe. And that might be why the aliens are so interested in playing around with us. But hold on a moment, the Ebens, who claim to have brought basically the life as we know it to the Earth, they believe in a supreme being, the creator of all souls, but they also speak of another power. They are terrified of what they call the evil entity. Linda says, what are the beings that we might call gods scared of? What exactly is coming for them? What is it that they could be afraid of?
Although there is another theory here. This book, if it exists, it could be just like the alien equivalent of a Dan Brown novel, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty good plot. How did we get the book?
It was recovered.
So it wasn't given to us.
No, so by all accounts, it was recovered, and then the Ebens were like, oh, go on then, you should probably
you got
use
the book.
it. Yeah.
You have it. Go on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's dangerous because once you have the book, you know all the secrets. There's no secret you can't know.
Who's got the book now? The American government?
Yeah, of course, the American government. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Can I come back to the number of souls thing? Is that because obviously there are various religions where that's the thing? You've got to, there's a finite number, you've got to join. Is that what they're saying? Or is it just they are just going around recycling through different bodies all the time, a bit reincarnation-y?
They're farming us for souls.
For them.
Which
would suggest we are them?
We have been...
Right now?
We've been developed by them.
So have I got one of their souls in me?
Not one of theirs, one of the universe's general souls.
You've got all Cassiopeian on me.
I know.
Have I got one of their souls here? Not one of their souls, one of the other
their souls are our souls. They are... They're universal, but we have a different container.
Okay, I'm lost.
So, okay, think of it like a Dalek, right?
Yeah.
The little thing that lives in a Dalek,
yeah.
That's the soul. It can live either in a silver Dalek or a gold Dalek.
Yeah.
We're gold Daleks.
Yeah.
The Ebens are silver Daleks. The soul can live in both, either.
But we're not symbiotic.
No.
So we've either got one in us or we haven't.
No, we've all got one. we've all got a soul.
We've all got a soul.
But not everybody has got the container. So you can't have a soul unless you are a container. We are containers of DNA that they helped manipulate.
Right.
That DNA is very precious.
Yeah.
Why they're doing this, I don't know.
I feel like a soul.
You have to be very careful when you talk about how many souls are in the universe.
Yeah.
And our souls and their souls.
Yeah.
But she then focuses on what this demon entity is. You know, this is their devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what there are clues about who this or what this might be. And there really aren't any, except for there's a guy called Craig, who again is another code name. He's a retired Marine working with the Special Forces, because of course he is. And apparently he approached Linda after one of her presentations, and he introduced her to this idea that Antarctica, he says, this is his words, contains wonders beyond what most can comprehend. It has ties to space and technology beyond belief. He revealed to her that for 15 years, his unit has been involved in a massive clandestine archaeological dig 1.5 miles beneath the Antarctic ice. Their mission is to sanitize the site, remove the artifacts before the world is allowed to see what's really there. And the bombshell is, he claims there are hieroglyphs and symbols found in the ancient city that is below the ice, which perfectly match symbols found on artifacts inside the moon and on the surface of Mars in the Cydonia region.
Bingo!
Bingo!
We got the lot.
Yes. So
Wow. So we got Antarctica.
Linda filled
we've
my
got-
bingo
wow.
card.
Wow. Yeah, this is bingo crazy. Wow. That's got the lot, this one.
It's very, very peculiar. I like the idea of all of these symbols popping up because we've seen them before. We've seen, like our favourite case, Sam the Sandown Clown was covered in symbols.
Yes.
People have symbols tattooed or rather burnt upon them. You remember everybody who was involved in that case I described last week had a triangular symbol burnt into them. And the notion that people see a language from another galaxy, another race, is incredibly compelling. Is it real? I don't know. Is it true? So these people certainly seem to think so.
I'm also thinking, partly of my bingo card, but I guess this ties in with the pyramids as well. We built pyramids because they're triangle shape.
That is not a conclusion that Linda comes to.
Oh, damn.
No,
So I can't tick that one off.
what her conclusion really is that all of these races, they fear something. They need us because of our souls and our valuable DNA.
Our vessels.
Our vessels. And these symbols are either accidentally left here or are clumsy communications left for us to decipher, sometimes in corn circles, sometimes in wreckage of UFOs, sometimes in wreckage and images found underneath the Antarctic ice. What do you think? I don't know.
Wow. Did she bring corn circles into this, or you just bought them?
No, she brings corn circles into it, but only as a passing reference.
Right. I mean, I love the idea. I like that idea of just, if we got enough of this stuff, you could almost develop the Rosetta Stone course of Zergon or alien language. I'm worried about the Orions now. Is that who's coming in November, the Orions, do you think?
Yes, on that spaceship coming to destroy us. Yeah, that could be the Orions. Yeah. But there are other cases where people don't even see the symbols. Like, it's communicated to them. Like, I know we're probably fairly aware of this as a trope, but for example, in 1980, there's a case of a Colorado couple who are lifted from their car in a beam of light, and then there's a grey-skinned being, large dark eyes. He builds a tunnel from his mind to theirs, which is the way they describe it, and they feel his entire consciousness, thoughts and memories being pulled out of him like a waterfall. And the language, they said, was not spoken or written. It was direct mind-to-mind communication. That is something that we see so commonly in like popular culture, that's even in the Simon Pegg film Paul, that's how that alien communicates.
Yeah.
Those stories I find less convincing. What I actually want to see is proper. I want to see something written down. I want to see one of these artifacts.
I want to see the book.
You want to see the yellow book? Yeah. I want to know about the blondes. They sound like a lovely race.
Yeah. So let's put together everything we've got here. So we've got numerous, let's call them credible cases of UFO sightings or crashes.
Yes.
Roswell, the one that predates Roswell.
Yeah, the 1941 case, yeah.
Yeah. All three symbols all three have something, some item that's got symbols on.
Triangle and circle.
2 out of the 3, or is it all 3, that it's communicating something more than just the triangle and the circle? Some kind of code is being transmitted.
Two out of the 3, there's a binary code being put into the human brain.
And then there's this yellow...
And then there's this yellow book which tells the story of all of the beings that are visiting us.
But the yellow book comes from one source, one witness source.
One witness source.
Where the others... So I think that's the one you've got to be a little bit careful of, right? Because I get it, and it sounds fantastic. But yeah, back to my made in China point. Let's say they weren't trying to communicate anything to us. It's just stuff that's written on their ship. Don't touch the vessel when hot. You know what I mean? It's going to be something like that, isn't it? Rather than some amazing revelation, it's going to be something incredibly practical. It's a film that's reminded me of... Isn't that what they find in... I think it's Sphere. Have you ever seen Sphere, the movie?
No.
I don't want to do any spoilers, but they get on the spaceship, what they think is the spaceship, and yeah, there's something in it that actually it is something like put your rubbish here. You know what I mean? It's a bin that they've come across. So when they translate the language, so it would be, wouldn't it? Because unless you are deliberately trying to communicate to us, whereas I said before, it seems easier to find another way than kind of etch it onto your spaceship. Maybe not, but
yeah,
it's going to be something practical written on it, isn't it?
Yes, possibly. It depends whether it's written on it the way that we write on aircraft,
yeah,
or whether it's written on it because it's like the way we write on a blimp, the way that we would
right. That's
like put an
analogy.
advertisement on there, something like that, or that the way that aliens use language isn't the way that we use it at all, and it is used sort of universally on different surfaces to mean different things. There is another story that I haven't told you about, which might make a little bit of sense after what you have just summarised up. I was keeping this one for the end because it's the juicy one. This comes from a second talk that Linda did, but it folds back into it, and it comes from her research with the CIA director, William Casey. And she starts off by saying, if you were president, what is the most important secret you would learn on day one? Now, for President Reagan, she says he was just 2 months into his first term in 1981, and he had a briefing at Camp David. Can't say that without Alan Partridge. Anyway, on extraterrestrial visitations. He said that there was a transcript from that meeting revealing that there's a cosmic hierarchy that recasts human history as a grand controlled experiment. Now, that is what we were just referring to there by the Ebens. So William Casey said he has seen this transcript, and it laid out what was termed the big picture for Reagan. It confirmed the reality of crashed ET craft, which went much further than what we've just heard. The species visiting Earth, the Ebens, yes, but also the Archeloids.
Oh, we got the Archeloids now.
The Quadloids, the Heplaloids, and the Trantaloids.
Wow.
The key to the puzzle, they explained, was the race known as the Ebens, This group, described as being friendly, claimed to have used a process called rapid cycle cloning to genetically create 2 of the other species on the list. The archeloids, who are large-nosed beings with reptilian eyes, and the quadriloids are praying mantis hybrids with essentially biological androids at their heart. So this ties in with the other story that we've heard.
That's like the praying mantis cryptid in New Jersey.
Yeah. They were created by the Ebens to serve their purposes across the galaxy. But this is where this ancient language provides a link. There is a sketch made directly from a Pentagon film of an archeloid encounter at Holloman Air Force Base in 1964. The archeloid is holding a rod which the government sources claimed was a language translator. This figure, with reptilian eyes and a ropey headdress...
All right, everyone's a critic. Made out of rope, you mean? Yeah.
Almost perfectly matches ancient Sumerian carvings of words for sun god Salmesh, who is also depicted as holding a communications device. The implication being the beings humans worshipped as gods were themselves engineered androids serving an even higher intelligence.
God, if you haven't ticked off your bingo card now, you should. What's wrong with you? You haven't been paying attention.
So that is probably when we were talking earlier about who was the people to be wearing of. Maybe it's them.
Yeah. I love that idea, though. The briefing at Camp David, you go through all that, and then they say to Reagan, only joking, April Fool!
And Reagan's like, I want to meet these Trantaloids.
Yeah. You almost need a family tree, don't we, for this?
We do, yeah. When you start looking at all of this, if you've been watching a lot of Ancient Aliens, your mind would go to hieroglyphics on the walls of Egyptian temples.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And we did end up with Sumerian carvings from a Pentagon film of an archeloid encounter. But there are some striking similarities, and it isn't very clear that the symbols that we're seeing aren't just... For example, I can come up with a solution where if we are testing these very secret craft... What would be a great way of keeping them secret? Well, it would be not writing "Made in the USA" on them and not writing Western symbols on them. So during the war, we used Native American speakers to encode military symbols,
right.
The Windtalkers, because they were completely undecipherable because their language is unlike any other on Earth. Are we just using symbols that we've borrowed from Egypt or other ancient races to cover our own tracks?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Yeah, it's completely possible.
Yeah, makes sense.
I do like the idea that the sun god Shamesh, you have to say it like Sean Connery. Shamesh. That he
nice
is...
to meet you, Shamesh.
The name's God, sun god. But look, I don't want to stretch the point anymore. The main fun of this is the archeloids and... the idea there that we've had somebody pointing to that particular day in Nuremberg when
That's interesting.
there was basically a battle in the sky. That could just be someone's practical joke from the American.
If it's real,
members.
though, I always think with these things, especially if you know the topic and the relevance of that, the Nuremberg sighting way, what was it, 15, 16, 17? I can't remember when it was, 1700s, was that? Or was it earlier?
15.
15, I thought it was 15. You're decoding it, and that's what it gives you. You must just, that moment, you go, it's the Hollywood moment, isn't it? Of what happened around that time and in that oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alien battle in the sky. Wow.
Yeah. So in some of the cases where people have been given the binary code, it's also given the location of somewhere that was known as High Brazil, which we're still not even sure existed, but it was a small island that some say was located in the Atlantic Ocean. It is the same place that people have described it in ancient maps that is given in the binary code, but nobody knows why.
Yeah.
And there is also another reference
You're
to
just
something.
pushing your bingo card now, aren't you?
Well, yeah, but there's another reference in some of that binary to the language known as High German, which is a very old-fashioned style of German.
Right.
And again, what is the reference point to High German about? Don't really know.
Wow.
Most of, by the way, what was found in the Rendlesham communication was indecipherable, but then it did bear a resemblance to what was given in the other communication I said in that story. So advancement of humans, consciousness, all of those sorts of kind of new agey ideas.
See,
were
that I
communicated through that.
That makes me suspicious, because that's the kind of thing you get. It's the kind of messages you got in the 70s, maybe early 80s from, like in The Interruption, if you were going to fake an alien communication or the UFO religions, it's all about that, isn't it? You're destroying your world. You've got to raise your consciousness. I mean, maybe that's because that's the message they're trying to give us, but it seems convenient that is the message.
Well, in the extra scoop, I'll go a little bit further into why Linda thinks that the Ebens created us and what was going on at the time.
Right. Okay. Well, come and join us there at patreon.com/TQM pod. We'll be going into that in the extra scoop. And if you join us as a Patreon,
you get ad-free access to our episodes a week early. You get Ben and Peter's extra scoop. You get the Discord server, and you get access to our lovely community.
There you go.
And you get the joy of supporting us, all for less than the price of a decent cup of coffee in London. And for that money, you help us keep this show on the road. And we are going on the road on the 6th of September. We will be at the Strange Days Festival in Wiltshire at the Honey Street Barge Inn.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, it is a paid event, so I have to look up tickets for that. And
We're not the only ones on, by the way. It's a big festival.
No. Brian Blessed is going to be there. And Henge and the Lawmen and loads and loads and loads. It's a 3-day festival. There's loads of cool people talking about excellent things, including there's a lecture on Jeff the Talking Mongoose that I'm definitely going to go to.
Yeah, there's got to be one on crop circles as well.
Yeah, I would think so. But we will be there. But we couldn't really do those things without you because, life. So thank you very much.
And also 15% discount code off the Rosetta Stone Orion Alien Language course.
That is true, where you will learn how to recycle a soul and preserve its DNA.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that as a Patreon-only YouTube video later.
Out of all we've said in the last 3 minutes, only one of those things is not true.
That is very true. Boy, this heat is making me crazy. I did not get any sleep last night. So I'm really hoping that next week it cools down a little bit.
Well, luckily I've done my course, so that's
Okay, I think the Orions are here. With that note, I'll see you later.
Are you the quantum mechanics?